Okay. Okay. I think we're streaming now. Uh, for anyone in chat, can you hear me? Just put a message. I just want to confirm all the audio is working. Adam, I see you're in chat. Can you? Oh, okay. Acelia, you can hear me? Fantastic. Okay. Let's begin. Let me start projecting. By the way, this is the first time I have used Apple Keynote to present something because that's the basis of the show. And I'm very excited about that. Let me just start the projection. And I'm so excited. I am really excited for this. Okay. Let's see if I have this working now. Okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the 2024 Drawing Tablet Awards. Now, I wish I could say, the Academy of Tablet Sciences has met and we've convened to form an alliance where we're going to look at all the tablets and tell you what our best choices are. Yes, I am a PowerPoint. I'm very good at PowerPoint, but Keynote, literally, I've never used before today. And the only reason I'm using it is because it seems to work better on Mac OS than PowerPoint. And having worked at Microsoft for 28 years, that's a little bit of a hard statement to say. But yeah, I wish we had an Academy of Tablet Sciences, but we don't. It's just me. I'm the entire academy, so to speak. So as 2024 draws to a close, I wanted to take some time and look back and say, hey, here's what I thought was great about this past year. And let me say this, it is challenging to talk about drawing tablets for 2024 because Wacom is still a great brand, and we see so many new tablets there. And, it's sometimes hard to make these choices. It's really hard to make these choices. Thank you so much, Acelia. I appreciate the comment. Anyway, I wanted to look back and tell you some things that really sparked my attention and who really deserves some praise. So, I'm going to say there's best of this and best of that. But remember, so many brands did such a good job this year. It's tough to pick, but I had to make choices, okay? Now, I got past the welcome already. Let me get to the first category, which is best packaging. And so what I'm really talking about here is really what's on the box that when we get a drawing tablet, okay? And the nominees are Wacom and XP Pen. Now, Wacom is, for quite a while now, had really good boxes. They have really pretty products. You can see they have some nice art. And then we have XP Pen, which especially this year, or they have the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2, which is the box you're seeing on the right. It looks pretty good. It looks really good. Good to see you, Bitmajo. And both of them have been just tremendous. But, if I had to pick a winner, it would be XP Pen. Drawing tablets, we're supposed to be drawing on them. And I love that they took... yes, Cecilia, we may have another F-35 analogy. XP Pens, their boxes look beautiful. They are filled corner to corner with art. And look at this example. What a striking image, right? And it's not just the art that's on the box. It's just the overall design of it looks great. It's eye-catching, right? I actually love looking at this XP Pen box. If I could, I'd probably put it as a poster on my wall because it's excellent. It is absolutely one of the best I've ever seen. And you know what? And here's a little bit close up so you can see it better. It's beautiful artwork. Eye-catching. And this isn't just for the Artist Pro 19. Also, the Artist Pro 16 Gen 2 also has a very beautiful image. I think there's some kind of leopard or, large cat there. It's very beautiful, but this really takes the cake. And you know what? XP Pen does something even better. I do think it comes with 2 pens. Look at this. Towards, you can see the bottom, on the bottom, not the bottom, toward the lower side of the top of the box. They actually, I love this. This is so human. This is so real. They recognize the artist. Not only the artist's signatures there, but also it actually says a compliment to the artist, who I'm not familiar with, world-renowned, and it says their name. This is beautiful, right? You're supposed to be drawing. We're supposed to be creating art with drawing tablets, and they make this a first-class example of recognizing the artist. In an age when, at a time when we're dealing with AI, sort of just synthesizing artwork, it's nice to introduce that human element back into it. And so XP Pen, for me, did the best job for packaging, and I hope other brands take a cue from this. Now, I know everyone has their different philosophies of what their boxes should look like, but I think this was the best. It's beautiful and it's human. And so I think XP Pen deserves that recognition. Now, let me take a brief pause and let me take a look at chat. See if there's anything interesting here. There's a good question here from Batminton. What a great name. It reminds me of an old TV show. I think it's called Bat Masterson. Do you think Wacom will produce a 16-inch moving version? Wow, I really hope so. I really hope so. The challenge there is, they pitch the Movink as something that is for really people who are, on the go, portable, for professionals who are really probably just changing locations. And my concern there is if they release the Wacom Movink 16, what the Movink 13 costs, $750, $800 US. Sure, the Movink 16, a hypothetical Movink 16 would be even more expensive, but I think the challenge that it would eat into the profits for the Cintiq Pro line. Cintiq Pro 17 is what, $2,500. And, I'm not going to pay $2,000 for a 16-inch display, but $1,216 OLED super light with, support for different pens. Yeah, I think I might do it. Acelia, let's see this comment. This is very interesting. He worked on Terminator Zero for Netflix. He was the main artist. I saw a few clips of that. It looked amazing. I'm going to check that out. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you so much. Okay, so next category is best industrial design, okay? And industrial design, as I understand it, is about the physical nature of the device, okay? It's not about the pen technology. It's just how it looks and feels as a device. Now, in this category, there were a couple of nominees. Wacom Intuos Pro, the PTH X60 series has been fantastic. And it's always looked great. And it's an elegant looking tablet, right? XP Pen, their Deco Pro Gen 2 series, I'm going to tell you, I think it's very good. I was so surprised when I saw it. It's an elegant looking tablet. And Sense Labs, their pen tablet series has introduced a few, new things for pen tablets, like that soft edge that rolls off at the bottom, which is, easier on your hands. But if I had to pick a winner in this category, I would pick the XP Pen Deco Pro Gen 2. Now, I know it looks like a plain black rectangle, but it's not. It's actually beautiful and elegant and thoughtful. And let's just go over some of the things I notice about it. First of all, you can sort of see at the bottom here it sort of bends down, right? So that there's no sharp edge that your hands have to contact, which is beautiful. The other thing is, you know what? I normally do not like to see a brand's logo displayed prominently on their tablet. However, I think in the past year or so, XP Pen redesigned their logo, and I like it. I actually think it's really very nice. And, you know, I actually think it gives me some pride, I guess, to see, you know, that this XP, or that shows that they have pride in their product, that their logo is here, and it fits in quite nicely. And one more subtle thing you'll notice here is that just look at now I can't zoom in right now, but the XP Pen, the X in the XP Pen is like 4 lines put together. I don't think they even actually connect. And one thing I notice here, which I think is just, again, a subtle design point, the corners of the active area don't have little dots and they don't have little corners. They actually have, you know, the X's. I think that's beautiful. It just brings your mind back to XP Pen as the logo, right? Celia, yeah, XP Pen, I think they're doing well in some categories, honestly. So this is beautiful. And you know what? One thing that surprised me is even the back looks good, right? Not only is it, you know, it feels like it's metal, but also even the little, I don't know what you call them, these little things they stick on the bottom so that it sticks on the desk. I guess they're made of rubber. Even these harken back to the X in the XP Pen logo, right? And so I think this is, again, very thoughtful. Whoever designed this, you know, did a great job, and I hope they're recognized. And one final thing, which really just puts it over the top, I think this is the most interesting feature of the XP Pen Deco Pro Gen 2 series. The layer you're actually drawing on actually extends a little bit over the base of the tablet, right? So, I mean, you're not drawing on the surface. It's not, you know, this isn't where the active area is. But this little ledge that it creates, I think, is really intriguing. Bitmojo, you have to go. See you later. I hope you can join us for a future stream. I think it's really elegant and beautiful, and, you know, it just gives you a different sense of the tablet, because you get the feeling then that the thing that's sensitive to the active area is almost this other layer that's been laid on top of the base, which is unlike every other tablet I've ever seen. And, you know, it's so cool that, you know, really slim pens will actually roll underneath it and get kind of hidden. But that's okay, because it's such a beautiful design that I love it. And I think it, you know, it overcomes even these little slight issues with it. So whoever designed this product for XP Pen should be recognized. This is really, really good. Let's see, Acelia, let's see what your comment is. You think you have an interesting one. You should make stickers or some kind of small trophies for these and offer to send them to companies if they care. And trust me, XP Pen will say, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I thought when I was planning this event that I would do something like, you know, a Golden Pen Award, kind of like they have, you know, Golden Globe or the Academy Award. But I just didn't have time to prepare. But I love your idea that maybe even like some kind of physical thing like a sticker might be really nice. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Now, you know how important dance is to our world. And of course, it's equally as important to drawing tablets. So there's a category in my awards for best choreography. Now, the nominees were limited because there was only one, you know, case where I found someone dancing with regard to, you know, drawing tablets, and that was Brad Colbo and his glove dance. Now, I'm going to look in chat. Do you want me to play the glove dance? And I'm just going to look at the chat and see if people want to see it. I want to show it. I'm just, I do want to show it. I want to hear someone say, give me the excuse and say, yes, let's see Brad Colbo's glove dance. Okay, so let me just give it a minute and see what the audience says. And the reason I want to do this is sometimes this stuff. Okay, I see a lot of yeses. Okay. Hang on a second. I think I got this work. I think the audio will work. If it doesn't, I'll send you a link to one of his videos where you can see the glove dance. Okay, hang on.
What? Why is everybody looking at me like that?
But as I'm waiting for people's responses, let me just say this. When I do my videos, sometimes these videos are very technical, like I'm talking about pressure response curves or, something kind of mathematical at times, or, it's kind of deep into the technology. I love when people can be authentic and just enjoy themselves with videos. And when I always just love Brad's glove dance because he's having fun and he's being authentic. And, you just appreciate the entire thing more because he does that. So I just want to recognize him for his great work. Not only, he's a great reviewer of drawing tablets, but, he injects some fun into it. And I absolutely appreciate that. So let's recognize Brad for that. And I'm just checking again, the audio work for everyone. Okay. So now I see a thumbs up, so I think that's yes. That's Brad's glove dance. Okay. So now I have a category called Best Price to Performance. Okay. Now this is a tricky one because you have to balance a lot of factors. The nominees. Now I split it because I think you really should take pen tablets separate from pen displays. So for pen tablets, I think the ones that offer a lot of value compared to their price, there are three that, really at the top of my mind. One by Wacom Medium, that's the CTL 672, super popular. I recommend that all the time for beginners or for people who want to take notes with a drawing tablet. This year we saw the Huion Frago M, it's totally solid, and especially its PW 550 pen. Has a super, wide pressure range, which I enjoy. It's a very basic, very simple tablet. And then the XP Pen Deco series, specifically the M and L. I tend to use the L because it's more of the same size as a Wacom Intuos Pro. Oh, I see a little comment. Let me just address it. Cami Luna, I love how technical you are with your videos. It's your own style, and it makes all the nitty-gritty about these tablets clearer and easier to understand. Thank you. I really appreciate that you said that. I thank you so much. Okay, so those are my three for the pen tablets. And the nominees for best price performance for pen displays, there were two this year. And not all of these appeared this year, but I'm trying to say what's in the market. The Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3 and the XP Pen Artist 13 Gen 3. So this was tough. I will say, I think it was tougher to decide the pen tablet than the pen display. I think it was much easier for me to decide the pen display. And the winner of this category, you know what? As crazy as it is for pen tablets, one by Wacom Medium, CTL 672. The pen has a low IAF. It has a decent maximum pressure. It's reliable. It's been reliable for years. It's the number one choice for a tablet to play Osu with. The only thing it doesn't have is tilt. And I guess it doesn't have wireless either. But it's solid. It's so solid. I recommend it all the time for beginners. So I think it's a great, great value. And you can find it for not much money on eBay if you want to save a little bit of money. As for pen displays, Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. I've talked about this tablet in many videos. Look, this tablet is a fantastic choice. Huion actually describes this tablet as an entry-level tablet. And it's like an upgrade to the older Huion Canvas 13 GS1331. The Gen 3 is the GS1333. The pen is better. The screen is better. It adds dials. and the ports work better for connecting to the computer. It's a winner all around. It's the best purchase for an entry-level pen tablet. And so I think it's the best choice in the price to performance category for a pen display. So Huion did a great job here. It's my number one recommendation for an entry-level pen display at this size. Best tablet driver. Now, I get a chance to experience a lot of drivers, of course, since I try so many tablets. And the ones that stood out for me this year are XP Pen's V4 tablet driver. And the reason that stood out is they've upgraded the way it looks. So, it's gotten a UI refresh. I don't think it does anything different, but it just looks much more interesting than the old driver. Wacom Center, it's not new, but it is pretty good. I mean, it does things that other drivers don't. And a great example is, someone asked me about, how can I say this? Wacom's drivers have this on-screen menu system, like they can be radial or different sort of rectangular sizes. Super advanced. Most people never use them, but it is a really sophisticated system, right? Oh, I see. So there's a quick message from Celia. Let me just make sure. I'll get to it in a second. I'm really curious what it is. But let me finish this first. So, it is starting to look good, and it is very advanced. And then there's Sense Labs. And I've always said Sense Labs has a good driver. It's very attractive. And I know for a fact they spend a lot of mental energy making it a good driver. And the winner, it's Sense Labs. Okay? Does it have as many features as the Wacom driver? No. Is it as crazy slick with gradients and, the look that the XP Pen V4 drivers has? No. But I honestly think that the Sense Labs driver is industry leading. It's attractive, very attractive user experience, and it's very simple and very straightforward. And they are the first brand to support Windows on ARM devices. I know others are working on them. Certainly Huion is, certainly Wacom is, but they've actually released one. And, they have a driver for, Mac OS, Windows, Linux, and Windows on ARM. So they treat it very seriously. And their driver is really good. I think it's got a very, when I say simple, I don't mean simplistic. It's just very straightforward what to do, very elegant, and they should be recognized for that. Okay. And let me take a look at the comments then. Let's look at Celia's comment. I'm starting a channel soon to share my 3D art journey, and I'll be on it. Hey, do it. Do it. I want to see it. Absolutely. Everyone, if you want to dance a little bit, please share a video. I'd love to make this something more people participate in. Okay. And then let me scroll down. Let's see another big comment from Jordan. I use the radials a ton. One of my biggest reasons around still using a Wacom. Wish Sense Labs would bring it. Huion brought a version recently. Yes, I wish Sense Labs would do it. I agree with you. I tried the Huion one, and maybe I'm mistaken, but the Huion one is super limited. There's only exactly one radial menu with 7 items. Wacom, you can have any number of radial menus, and the menus can launch other menus. It's wild, right? And I didn't think much of those radial menus, honestly. And let me tell you why they're really interesting to me right now. With the Wacom Move Ink, because it is, it can be touch sensitive. I love the idea that the tablet can introduce a menu that I can touch and select items. Because then I don't really need the keyboard at all, do I? I can just select right on the tablet. So I want to spend some time in 2025 really, building up a menu system for the Wacom Move Ink when I use Clip Studio Paint, which is my favorite app. Because right now I use the Toolbox, but this menu system they have might even be better for me. Okay. People's Choice Award. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask, 1 second, let me get something to drink. I'm going to ask you in the chat to just nominate a tablet you think deserves some recognition. I'll just take a look and, quickly I'll make maybe a little bit of a judgment about what people want to see. So if you're in chat, just leave a comment. Let's see what people think is if you had to pick sort of the best tablet, what would you pick? Super curious. And let me while we're waiting, I'll take a look at the comments. Wacom Intuos Pro Medium. Yeah, that is the best tablet on the market. I mean, in terms of performance, it is. I see there's a question here from Mariana Amorin. I saw some people on Reddit talking about electrical vibrations on the back of the pen display. Is this something normal that happens on many models? Hey, look, I have 77 tablets. I have never felt anything like that. I saw the thread you're talking about, and I think someone may have commented that it was something that has been seen before. I have never experienced it. I'm not disagreeing with that person. I really need to do some investigation. That seems to me abnormal, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. And I pay attention to a lot of the questions on the subreddits. This seems abnormal to me. And if it's electrical, I'm always on the side of, hey, there's something maybe you should be a little bit concerned about. So I'll check into that one. Thank you for bringing it up. Okay, let's see. We see another comment. This year, Wacom Move Ink or SenseLab 16 for pro level build. Yeah. I think Move Ink is innovative, really innovative, right? And that's what OLED at 13 and SenseLabs has. It's an OLED at 16. And both of them have pro level build quality. I probably only was a little surprised that the SenseLab 16 is thicker than I expected. I actually, in my mind, I thought it would be as thin as the Wacom Move Ink. Alderin Shadow Song, love the name. Huion Canvas Pro 19. That's a strong contender. Absolutely. Absolutely. Move Ink does give you Pro Pen 3 for $700 in color calibration. Pretty sweet deal. Hope to see 4K version in similar price range. Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned the resolution. I was a little disappointed that it was only full HD, so 1920 by 1080. I felt like, just one bump in resolution, maybe to, WQHD, I think, would have really just cemented it as a really powerful choice. And I like the Move Ink, I really do. Okay, I'm seeing different things here in the list from Huion and Wacom. I'll give it a few minutes. Maybe we'll come back to this, but if you have ideas, just let me know. Okay, best pen. Best pen. Let me just say this. There's one thing I learned in the past 2 years, that some of the major things we think about as the drawing experience are actually not driven by the tablet at all. It's actually driven by the pen. And that's why I spent so much time this year investigating pens. A few months ago, I did a video where I think I measured the pressure response of 53 pens. And I think, as far as I know, it's the first time someone has measured them, so many pens in this way. And it was a little bit shocking for me what I saw. But again, the experience we get with a drawing tablet is so driven by the quality of the pens. I didn't realize that before this year. So it's important, I think, that we recognize which pens are great. Okay, here are the pens that, in my opinion, based on my actual measurements and my experience using and what people say, I thought stood out. Again, some of these pens are from previous years, like 2019, but they are in the market and they're popular. So let's just say it. Wacom Pro Pen 2, look, that is an amazing pen. Wacom Pro Pen 3, also amazing pen. Sense Labs 3-button pen V2, that's the one that comes with these newer pen displays they have. XP Pen X3 Pro series, and then Huion PW600 series. This field of nominees is really tough. I had thought hard about each one, and I want to say just a few comments. Wacom, still dominates the field with its Pro Pens. And, they charge a lot for those Pro Pens. The Pro Pen 2 is what, $80? The Pro Pen 3 is $130. And the other competitors are a bit less. Sense Labs had a good pen, I think, pretty much always. The XP Pen X3 Pro Series has been good. I did see some variation in the pressure response, especially the maximum pressure between different units, and I tested 5 or 6 of them. And the PW600 was a big surprise. It was a huge upgrade from the previous, PW517 pen. More consistent pressure response. It's got an eraser. It's a really good pen. But if I had to pick from these 5 in the field, I have to give it to the Huion PW600 series, because they have really set a new bar, I think, for non-Wacom pens. And I'm not I'm not just ignoring Wacom here. I actually think that these pens are competitive with Wacom pens. Yes, their initial activation force isn't quite as low as Wacom Pro Pen 2, but it's pretty good. Now, this is the series of PW600 pens. So there's actually 3, PW600, PW600S, which is the slim pen, and PW600L. That comes with the Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. I couldn't find a picture of it on Huion's site, so I only have 2 pens on the slide. The max pressure is good. Another thing in my measurements, the pressure response is consistent. Acelia, you're very shocked at this, it seems, right? 3 buttons on some models, eraser on some models. This year I have to give it to Huion, I think. They made, I think, a pen that is going, Wacom's always had good pen, right? But I think this pen is a true challenger, and it's something that sets the bar for other pens. Oops, let's see. Slide's not visible? Okay. Let's see what's going on. One second. Oh my gosh. My mistake. I apologize. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry. I didn't pay attention. So yeah, let me go back a slide just so everyone sees what I was talking about. These were all the pens in the field. And, it was really hard. Normally, I'd be tempted to just give it to Wacom because they are great pens. But I think we have to recognize the significant improvement of the PW600 series of pens from Huion. So I'm going to give it, and I think it's influential. It's not just the tech stuff. I think it's influential. I think it sets a bar for non-Wacom products, for non-Wacom pens. And this is the one we're going to have to start judging against. And I think the other thing it does for me is it makes me realize, going back to my previous point, that pens are so critical to the experience, that we as customers, as consumers of these products, we are close, I believe, to having non-Wacom pens be as good as Wacom pens. And right now, based on my actual measurements, the thing that just needs to be addressed is getting a lower initial activation force. And even then, I think 2 gram force IAF is really good. I think the vast majority of people don't notice the difference. Okay? Arch, thank you so much. What a nice comment to make. I appreciate it. Thank you. Jordan, PW600 was pretty awesome when I tried it with the Pro 19, getting really close. I agree. Hey, I was blown away by it. And in my measurements, I tested 5 of these PW600 pens, and they're all very consistent. Now, maybe, the 6th pen is not going to be, but so far, my data says they're very good, right? And if XP Pen can match this, if Sense Labs can match this, then, Wacom is going to face really tough competition, because then it won't be easy for me to say, oh, well, use the Pro Pen 2 and then Wacom Intuos Pro. That's the best. Especially at the entry level, brands like Huion can absolutely dominate that field, right? Let's see, Celia. I like the Slim with the Wacom Canvas Pro Plus. It hurts my fingers after a while. Well, that's interesting. I've been using sort of like the normal thicker pens for a long time, but lately I've been trying the thin ones. I haven't had any pain or anything, but I kind of like it. I kind of like that I can see more of what I'm drawing actually with it. But I do feel overall the thicker like Pro Pen 2 style are slightly more comfortable. So I would agree with you. Okay. So, I'm all about recognizing people, anyone's efforts to improve things. And so I thought about the brands that have shown significant changes. And, these are just the normal players in the field. And, I apologize to other brands like, Parblo and UG. I just don't use those tablets. So, of course, this award ceremony is somewhat biased. The brands we have are Wacom, XP Pen, Huion, and Sense Labs. Those are the ones I look at. And who has improved the most in my mind? I don't think Wacom has improved much, because their pens were pretty good and their tablets have been pretty good, except, of course, I've gone on record many times about the disastrous Wacom 1 pen tablets that were released in 2023, which are horrible. But that's a terrible mistake. But other than that, their products are pretty good. XP Pen has had some marvelous changes. They've improved their pens. They've improved, their tablets. Huion also improved. Sense Labs, I guess you can say they've improved. They started off in a pretty high place. But who really captures my mind? I think, Celia, you got it. You know where I'm going with this. It's Huion. It's absolutely Huion. Let's just take a look at some of the things they did this year to improve, right? Or in the past year or so. They added touch to the Pro Pen displays. Yeah, I get it. I don't use touch all the time. I use it very little. But when you need it, you really need it. And it's so convenient to have. And this is one reason, by the way, I want the Huion driver to support, these complex on-screen menu systems, because you don't have to reach the keyboard. You can just do it on the screen with your hand, right? So I see a lot of support in chat for this. That's great to see. Arch, I'm just going to put your comment up there. I do agree XP Pen is pretty close. They just have a few little things that I think they need to deal with. I'll just name them right now for you. Number one, I still see a little bit of diagonal wobble in their models, and I think they have to get rid of that. And number two, I've shown in some of my tablet notes videos on tablets, I've shown that there seems like tilt compensation can be, not as good as, Huion and Wacom, right? I think they got to do it. If they can fix that, they'll be right up here. So getting on back to Huion for a second, Pentec 4.0, that comes with the PW600 series pens. Consistent, better pressure performance, clearly better than the older pens. So like comparing the PW600 to the PW517, huge difference. Huge difference. Another thing that Huion struggled with in the past few years is anti-glare sparkle. And I hate anti-glare sparkle. And most people hate anti-glare sparkle because it just looks bad. They seem to have figured that problem out. And at least in the tablets that I've seen recently, Canvas Pro 19 and the Canvas 13 Gen 3, seems like they're doing great. So that's great. And finally, They are now offering 2 pens with their Pro pen displays. Now, don't get me wrong. Every brand should be offering 2 pens with every tablet, but I'm glad they're doing this. So these were good improvements to their product. And, let's salute Huion for their work. They are most improved. And I hope other brands like XP Pen we can encourage them to improve as well, because we are so close to getting to a place where it's not just Wacom in the upper end in the Pro line, right? We have good choices. Let me take a look at the chats. Yeah, XP Pen is getting pretty close. They're the first company to add touch support to Mac OS. Oh, okay, interesting. I haven't had much time, Asilia, to use the touch with Mac OS. I did install the firmware update, but I haven't really played around with it. So if they made it work great, it's really interesting to know. I will try it. Arch, axial pressure performance getting really good, but when will we get pens that can detect pressure radially? Axial pressure radially. Could you add a comment, Arch, that just explains that radial detection a bit better, just to make sure I and the audience understand it? I think I understand what you're saying by axial, but I'm not totally understanding the radial comment. Herman, I hope I'm not saying, is it German or Herman Fernandez? Because I just want to say German. Best brand with tilt compensation. Okay. Based on my measurements, I'm thinking back now. With the newer models, I'm only talking about newer models, okay? Wacom has always had excellent tilt compensation, no doubt. Huion Canvas Pro 19 has excellent tilt compensation. Wacom Moving 13 has just amazing tilt compensation, the best I've seen. So right now, I'd give it to Wacom based on the performance of the Moving 13. But Huion Canvas Pro 19 is just so ever slightly close to there, right? So I would give that one to Wacom. XP Pen, their tilt compensation I've seen seems to, with their newer tablets, okay? All non-Wacom brands have problems with tilt compensation with their older tablets, or not their sort of like upper end line. But what I've seen with XP Pen is they're still inconsistent, right? If I tilt this way, sorry, I don't know if you can see my hand. If I tilt this way, where's my hand? If I tilt this way, it's okay. But if I tilt this way, I see it move about 2 millimeters. So I think that's something they have to work on. If they can work on it, I think that and the line wobble would just elevate them, right? Now, that being said, I just want to point out one more thing. How can I say this? In this field, when we're looking at drawing tablets, it is true that, I'm looking like through a microscope at some things, okay? And some of the things I look at can be things that I can measure, but a normal human wouldn't notice, okay? For example, IAF is like that. I think I can measure, in some sense, people can measure IAF, but some people may not notice it. Same with diagonal wobble. Apple Pencil Pro, Apple Pencil has surprising amount of diagonal wobble on Apple iPads, but most people in the drawing don't notice that. Now, I have to be a little bit careful here, but I do think that diagonal wobble and the tilt compensation are in that place where people would notice. And if you had used multiple brands, you'd tell they weren't quite as good as Wacom or even Huion right now. Okay, do I know if there's any program that can emulate floating menus from Wacom drivers which can be used on XP Pen and Huion models? I think so, Mariana. I think that would be... So I don't know if I created a category for this, but if I didn't, I'll just say it right now. When I think about accessories, I think about the Tourbox. And I think they have a kind of more complex menu system. I haven't played around with it too much, but that's probably the closest thing I've ever seen to what Wacom does, right? So if you're interested in that, maybe take a look at the Toolbox. If there's a review video or one that focuses on its menu system, that might be the closest I've ever seen. Actually, as in and out along the piston, I get that, but radial as in when you press with the side of the tip of the pen. Okay. So kind of tangent to the axial pressure is what I'm getting. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. I would love to. I could see why that might be helpful. I could see that actually, because we're only measuring. If your pen's like this, we're only measuring this one. There is pressure going this way, which is totally not being measured. I would wonder how that would be measured technically, but yeah, I think it's a great idea. If Arch, if you know any system that's done something like that or any research in that direction, could you please just link it? I would love to learn more. Jordan's mentioned the Toolbox. Jordan, AG Sparkle are main issues for me. I want to see all companies, including Wacom, do better at this. No reason they can't be on Apple's level now. Well, you're right. There's a bunch of things now that we're on this topic where you take a look at something like the iPad and you take a look at even the best pen display, and we have to wonder what is going on. Let me just give you a few examples. The Apple iPad is really bright and it still doesn't produce any heat. And it's not just a display, there's like a computer in there. But pen tablets keep on producing a lot of heat. I'm sure it has to do something with EMR technology, but my gosh, that would be clearly something that could be better at, right? Sparkle is another great example. Like the Apple iPad has, there's just no sparkle whatsoever. Now, admittedly, those screens are, they have an anti-reflective treatment, they call it, but they are kind of glossy. So maybe the question I would have is, does the Apple iPad Nano texture introduce some of that AG sparkle? I have been avoiding the Nano texture because it seems like it takes extra care. You have to be really careful with it. So that's why I haven't been able to talk about it. But yeah, it's a wonder for me that, like, if we're seeing a device like Apple iPad, which is super thin, super light, low heat, no anti-glare sparkle, what's stopping that from being true with pen displays? So something I don't understand, absolutely don't understand. I recently gave away MD16QH Milliton in exchange for Buddy's Wacom 1 because of tilt compensation. It was pretty severe to me. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. That's something they should work on. And I don't understand why their drivers can't fix it, because it seems like you should be able to, calibrate the tilt compensation in some way, but I don't know. Is there a prize for best stand or arm quality price? You know what? There isn't, but we can talk about it. Let me talk about that after we get to best tablet, because there's kind of a Q&A. And so we can bring up any best, this, best, that. Happy to give you my thoughts. Earlier, did you say you had 77 tablets? I did. I have 77 tablets. While obviously some of those are quite affordable, how are you able to justify the purchases? Okay, well, Daniel, I don't know if you've heard this from me, but I'll just summarize. I'm retired, and I retired after working 20 years at Microsoft. And no, my job had nothing to do with tablets, by the way. But I love creative technology, and I'm just sort of spending some of the money I earned to do something I love. And that's why I have 77 tablets, right? And now why I have so many. Number one is nostalgia, honestly. So I started using Wacom tablets, I think, starting 1995 when I was in university, in grad school. And over the, as I upgraded, I am embarrassed to say this, but I'll tell you the truth. I just threw my old tablets in the garbage. Okay? That was very stupid of me for many reasons, but that's what I did. And later, as I grew a bit older, I started giving them away to friends who didn't use them and then threw them in the garbage. But as I started getting serious about talking about tablets, I wanted to buy every tablet that I ever owned. So I went to eBay and found all these super old tablets. That's one reason I have so many. So a little bit of nostalgia. Sometimes I buy, tablets that are sort of unique from Wacom that are super old. That's another one. By the way, a group of us tried, but we couldn't pull it off. We tried to buy the biggest drawing tablet Wacom ever created. I'm going to put myself on camera for this because you won't believe this. I forget the tablet model number. It was like SD013A or something. I don't even know. I'll have to make a figure. Okay, so you see my hands? That tablet was like, you see how big my hands are, right? Imagine that times 4. It's like a big table, like a whiteboard. I actually was part of a group that wanted to buy that. We couldn't make it happen, but again, it's kind of a nostalgia, unique tablet situation. And then finally, the reason I have so many tablets is I really don't like it when people buy tablets and they're frustrated, right? And they don't know what's going on. And my experience had always been with Wacom. So I decided to buy a bunch of tablets that people were buying that Huion, XP Pen, etc., and some even older ones, because those were the tablets people were having questions about. I wanted to be able to help them, and also they would ask questions to compare one tablet to another. So I decided, let me buy some of these. And so over time, I just ended up with 77 tablets. Okay, let me address Jordan's comment here. Would take glare over sparkle any day in real world use case. Honestly, I think I am now feeling that same way. I personally work in a room which is very dark. Well, not dark, but there's not like a lot of bright light coming in. I like a low light environment. And so, glare is not really a problem for me. I don't feel that in my house, in my office, my iPad is hard to see because of any glare. So right now I'm leaning toward that direction, Jordan, where I'd probably prefer a glossy pen display. And if I want to deal with glare, I'd get, an anti-glare sheet, a third-party anti-glare sheet. Because I tell you, I've actually taken off the anti-glare film on one of my tablets. It was a Canvas 13. And when you take off that anti-glare treatment, wow. The pixels are crisp and the colors pop. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. Okay. Abigail, nice to see you. Okay, so yes, I do stream now. You know what? I love streaming. I love streaming because I was really scared, by the way, to start streaming because, your face is out there. But it's my favorite thing to do now, because it's so active and collaborative and I get so many comments. This is great. If I'm just recording videos, which I won't stop doing, of course, I don't know what people think, but here I get direct feedback. So yeah, I love streaming. In fact, I've been thinking about maybe doing a bi-weekly show that's consistent, like every, Saturday at some time, so that there's a regular thing we can do. I don't know if there's enough demand for that or anything interesting, every week, but you get the idea. For bigger tablets, what distance do you recommend to take care of the eyes? I really want to buy a Huion Canvas 27 Pro, but I'm aware for my eyes. This is a tough one. This is a real tough one. As you get older, your eyes change. And I'll be honest with you, my eyes, I'm 53, by the way. And these are not progressive lenses or bifocals. I have a tough time focusing on something that's close. So when I'm drawing my canvas, I sort of have to do this with my glasses. Yes, I know I have to get better glasses, but it's tough. These days, that's another reason why I like to draw with a pen tablet and look at a monitor in front of me, which is, I would say I'm drawing these days with a monitor about 4 feet away from me. It's not even on my desk. I put my monitors on another desk behind my desk. So I like to keep distance. And for me, that is actually starting to become a problem with pen displays. Again, I really should just see my optometrist again and get new glasses that help. But I'm a little embarrassed getting glasses for this reason. So, chalk that up to vanity. But I like to keep, ideally I like to keep things at least an arm length away from me, which I guess with my arm is, I don't know, maybe not quite 3 feet. Jordan, thank you so much for the nice comment. I really appreciate it. Love when people say things like this, and I'm so happy to share what I've learned. Well, think of it this way. Celia's comment's interesting. Maybe someone found one of these tablets in the trash and used it to make art, and it was because of what you did. What a beautiful sentiment. Yes, I hope someone did. I just love the idea that computers and technology can help people being creative. A little bit of a personal story. It's not personal. It's just like, I don't think I've ever talked about this really. When I was at Microsoft, this is like around the year 1999, I was part of an application called Microsoft PhotoDraw 2000. Okay. It actually did support pressure sensitive tablets, but I didn't really work on that part. And the concept we always talked about was like, the single creative app. And I think that was the concept. And I love the idea of having an app or an ecosystem that helped people being creative. And that included hardware tools, right? So, I do hope, to what you said, that people found those tablets and did something good with them, because that's what we're really here to do with tablets, is like help people be creative, tell their stories, share their experience. That's what's magical about tablets, right? Arch. This kind of discussion is probably the most useful, most influential in regards to having everyone catch up with Wacom, because consumers aren't going to ask for more if they don't. That is so true. That is so true. That's one of the motivating reasons I make all these videos, which are super boring, about pressure response curves and, all these other things, because there's not a lot of information for consumers about what how things really should be and how good they can be. And I really want, through these videos and through my writings, that we, meaning all of us who use tablets, are able to talk and speak our voice to Wacom and other drawing tablets and just tell them, hey, here's what we need. Quit doing these things, focus on this, right? And if we don't know what we need, we can't have that voice, right? So for example, I think I have been able to get more people to understand the nature of maximum pressure, not just initial activation force. And so I think that's something now we're seeing, not due to me. I mean, it's a natural thing for tablet brands, but I hope I had some part to play in it. Like, let's talk about maximum pressure. Let's quit talking about number of pressure levels, which, I don't believe makes a big difference. Yeah, hard data is very convincing, absolutely. Abigail, thank you so much for that message. I appreciate it. Arch, glare has never been an issue for me. I'm glad I'm lucky with my lighting arrangement. However, AG sparkle and pixel softness is a bit annoying. Do I recommend removing the Canvas 16 film? I just got a Canvas 16, the 2021 model. I haven't noticed so much AG sparkle, but it sounds like you are noticing more. If you remove it, let me just say this, because I'm basing on my experience with the Canvas 13. The glare is strong. I mean, if you have a light that's going to be, shining on it, you will see it clearly. It will. So you won't get the same experience as an iPad. It has an anti-reflective coating, which, does minimize those kind of things, but you will have to be more careful if you're around a bright light, because it will reflect it back at you very clearly, based on my experience with the Canvas 13. Monty, okay, are you going to delve into color accuracy for displays, pen displays in particular? Yeah, that's one of my plans for this year. I just bought a Spider color calibrator, and let me just be honest with you. I know this much about color. Okay, it's a totally alien concept to me. I am dumb when it comes to color. I just look at something and say, oh, that looks good or doesn't look good. Okay. So I have a lot of learning to do, and it is complicated. One of the most complicated topics I've seen. And I hardly even understand people when they say words like, P3 and Adobe RGB and color gamut. It is so confusing for me. Okay. So I need to learn a lot. And that's one reason I haven't talked about that with drawing tablets, because I am absolutely not qualified to talk about color. Yeah, Canvas 16 does not have a lot of sparkle in my opinion. Would I recommend putting a screen protector on an Artist Pro Gen 2? Okay, I'll give you my standard answer. Look, I've used a lot of pen displays. I've never scratched them up. Well, I mean, I've scratched them up because I accidentally touched them or put another object on top of them and that other object scratched them. But I've never scratched a pen display with my pen. Having said that, I totally understand the motivation to protect your investment. If you are concerned about scratching, get a protective film, right? One that's clear and doesn't have anti-glare treatment, and put it on, and see how it's working. Personally, I am still struggling to figure out why some people scratch their pen displays. It's the ones that have a glass surface. Because there's a channel, what's his name? David Revoy. He does videos. He recently did a couple of videos. He's really big in the Krita community. He did a couple of videos with the Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 and the Canvas Pro 19. And I'm not joking. I have to simulate this for you. He took like a box cutter, right? A knife, and tried to scratch those screens. And he took his car keys, I think, and tried to scratch the screens, and he couldn't do it. So, and yet we do see people scratch their screens. So I'm trying to figure out what goes on there. And I was amazed he did it, because I have never even dared to do such a thing. Okay. But again, getting back to your question, if you're concerned, put a screen protector, right? The worst that'll happen is you wasted some money, right? But protect your investment. Protect your investment. Another thing, if you don't want to use a screen protector, is some people think that the scratches come because, and this is a plausible theory. I've never tested this, that small bits of whatever, I don't even know, particulate matter get onto the nib, and the nib moves over the glass, and that particular matter is sharp and it scratches. I've never seen that. I could believe it, but I just don't know why these glass screens that are super hard get scratched. The ones that have plastic film, I get it, because those are soft, but pure glass, they should not get scratched with a plastic nib and a felt nib. So that's an active area of research for me. Everyone questions. Sorry. Did we go? We did not go over best tablet yet. I just want to get through a bunch of questions. I didn't realize so many people have questions. We'll get to best tablet in just a second. Actually, let me do it now, because I think it is one of the next questions, and then let's get back to what people are asking. Here it is, best tablet. So the nominees Again, we're going to separate it out into pen tablets and pen displays. But if you want, I'll pick one for both as well. Wacom Intuos Pro, yeah, of course, it's the best. Yeah, XP Pen Deco Pro Gen 2 series, I do love it. Huion Frago, I think, is a contender in the more of the entry level space. For pen, slides, yes, sorry. For pen displays, Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3, you know I love this tablet. Huion Canvas Pro 19, amazing tablet. XP Pen Artist Pro 16 Gen 2, it's my number one recommendation for 16-inch pen displays right now. And Wacom Cintiq Pro 22, I love that tablet. So this is a tough field. This is a really tough field. And there's a lot to think about here. There's a lot to think about. I'm always tempted to just always give it to Wacom because, they're the most reliable brand. They've got the most experience. But I think there is more to that. I also think about brands that are innovating, right? And that are moving forward. And we have to recognize that. We've got to. And so here's what I say. Pen tablet, I think the XP Pen Deco Pro Gen 2 series, that's what I would say is the best tablet of the year. I use the Deco Pro XLW Gen 2, which is the big one. That's one of the ones I showed you earlier, a few photos of. It's elegant looking. The performance is good. Is it as good as a Wacom Intuos Pro? No, it's got just a tiniest bit of line wobble. But it's so beautiful and so nice. And it's only like $200 compared to $400 something for the Intuos Pro Large. It's good. It's good. I have no hesitation recommending it. I think it'll serve everyone's needs very well. As for pen displays, the more I think about it, the more I think it has to be the Huion Canvas Pro 19. This thing for me was shocking actually. I did not expect Huion would pull something like this off. And it has touch. The screen is good. Yes, the pixels are a little soft, and some people don't like that. But, it doesn't bother me. It's a good size. It could be a bit less expensive. But one of the reasons I think it's the best tablet is the pen, this PW600, and it has two of them, is great. Both pens are great in that series, or all three pens in that series. But also, this is the first time I feel like for pen display, whatever Pro means, this is the first time I've seen a Pro non-Wacom pen display, which I feel has challenged Wacom. Absolutely. I think this is the tablet of the year I think overall, not just for pen displays, I would choose it as the tablet of the year because it shows us we are in a position where non-Wacom brands are really in the fight. And pretty soon, I predict in 2 years, we're going to have amazing tablets. We won't have to struggle with the choice, right? Anything made after, I'm just making these numbers up. Any tablet made after 2025 or 2026 will be great. We don't have to stress about them, right? And yeah, I'm sure there'll be more innovation, but we're going to be in a good space very soon. And I think Huion Canvas Pro 19 has shown me that's possible. It's absolutely shown me that's possible. So that was my winner for best tablet. Okay. So what we can do now is let's go through the community Q&A. There's a couple of other maybe categories we can talk about that came into my head, but let's take a look at the questions. Let's see. Canvas 13 Gen 3, yeah, Abigail, it's a great tablet. By the way, it's not secret, the Canvas 16 Gen 3 has been released in China. It's on the Huion China site. So, we should see it in other regions, I don't know, in a month or so. And if it is as good as the Canvas 13 Gen 3, I think it's going to be another amazing, tablet for 2025. Celia, I actually, you know what? I actually came very close to giving the best tablet to Canvas 13 Gen 3. And the thing that pushed it over for me for the Canvas Pro 19 was Pro 19 has 2 pens, it has touch. But let me spend a second talking about the Canvas 13 Gen 3 and why it was probably almost made it to my best. Here's the truth, and I base this on the questions that get asked on the tablet subreddits. Most people, as far as I can tell, are purchasing smaller pen displays. They're not purchasing 16 inches or 20 inches or 19 inches. They're purchasing 13 inches because it seems like $200 to $250 is where the vast majority of people are willing to spend their money. And so the tablet people are buying, Canvas 13 Gen 3 is going to be, in a sense, more influential. More people are going to have the Canvas 13 Gen 3 than the Canvas Pro 19. I'm sure of that. And they're going to get a good feeling about that tablet, and I think it's going to be really good for Huion's brand. But I think they're overall going to be very happy with that tablet. And especially I want to see if people who have used Wacom and switched to it feel satisfied. Because then we've got, again, true competitors to Wacom. And so that's why it came very, very close to being the best tablet for me. Okay, Arch. What do you think about using felt tips with tablets that have AG films? I used a felt tip with the Canvas 16 for a while. Didn't notice any more or less scratches, and I have a soft touch. I don't think I've really done it that much. Maybe it's just an experiment. I've used it, and what I found was just like you. I didn't really notice any difference, right? Maybe it felt like a little more texture, but it certainly, I didn't notice any difference in scratches. But like you, I don't press super hard. Silly, you don't like my choice of the Deco Pro? Interesting. I am curious, though, what you think might be better for the pen tablet category. So please leave a comment if you haven't already. Intuos Pro Medium for the people. Hey, look, let's be real here. Wacom has the best tech, okay? It has still the lowest IAF in the industry, okay? But I do think we have to consider that the price is a bit crazy. Don't get me wrong. I love my Intuos Pro Medium. It is in the sense that it's the best performing tablet. But for 2024, I think we have to recognize there are other tablets that are challenging them. Okay, so you thought the Intuos Pro Medium should have been instead of Deco Pro Gen 2. It's a totally fair comment. And again, technically, it's a better tablet. But I wanted to recognize that the Deco Pro Gen 2 just brings, sets a new bar for non-Wacom tablets. And so I totally understand the basis of the comment. Okay. Mariana, best stand, ARM quality price. Okay, best ARM. Let's talk about the ARMs. Okay. So I've used a couple of ARMs, and I'll tell you what the best is. There's kind of two. The best is in my experience, and I haven't used every ARM, Ergotron HX. It's expensive. I think it's like $300 to $400. It is sturdy, incredibly sturdy. It's like all metal, and it's heavy, and it really holds tablets and it holds displays incredibly well. Okay. I would say the runner-up budget tablet, which is also from Ergotron that I personally have tried, is the Ergotron LX. It's actually more flexible. Like you can actually move the tablet like lower than the HX. It certainly doesn't cost as much. It has some more plastic parts, but it's very good. And so if I had to recommend one, I'd recommend the LX. And both of them will wobble the tablet, LX more than HX. No arm I've ever used will keep a tablet like in the air perfectly still. Like they'll all wobble a bit. So when I use them, I tend to put the tablet down so that the lower edge is on the desk, and that will diminish any wobble. As for arms, there was let me just find it. Let me give you a second. Let me find it. There was a Vivo arm. It's on my website. I actually talked about it. Actually, you know what? It's actually behind me. It sits on your desk. It's not mounted to the desk, and it holds up with an arm the tablet. I use that with my Cintiq Pro, and it's excellent. I actually really like it. It's sturdy. It's way heavier than it looks, and it does get my tablet low enough so I can put the lower edge on the desk, and there's no wobble. That's with a 22-inch display. I don't know if it would work with a 16-inch display. So those are the ones I like. I can, again, if you ask me maybe in the comment to the video, I'll send you the exact page where I took some photos and talk about that stand, the Vivo stand. Okay, let's see. Jonathan, can appreciate the innovation for Huion for sure. Glad to see Wacom getting a competition. Still using the Wacom Pro 17 for work. Huion was too soft with AG implementation, but Huion's so close. Yeah, that softness in the screen is the only sort of mistake they made. You know, as far as I can tell, for their Canvas Pro. If they hadn't done that, it would basically be a perfect. Like, I'd have no criticism of the tablet whatsoever. Are they making money on the Canvas 13 Gen 3? I have a feeling they're not. I would love to see, like, they'll never show me this, of course, right? What company would show anything like this? I would love to see the unit sales for their lines. I feel like Canvas 13 Gen 3 is probably, if not now, is going to be sold a lot. And the other thing, I've had someone tell me, and I'll just say it as simply as I can, I think drawing tablets are a high margin business, meaning I think tablet companies make a lot on drawing tablets. Okay. So I think they're probably doing pretty well in terms of recouping their investment on the Gen 3, the Canvas 13 Gen 3. Abigail, honestly, the Canvas 13 Gen 3, I like the dual dials. That was a big draw for me. I love the dials. However, I just wish, and I think it's important to have them. The other thing, though, that I wish Huion would do is, I wish you could. Sometimes I accidentally click the dials, like because I'm brushing up against it, and it's kind of like it takes some effort to disable the dial from doing anything. I just wish there was just one checkbox that said, turn off the dial, right? That would probably be simple for me because. For me, I use the upper dial, but the lower dial I accidentally trigger with my arm. So I just like a quick way for disabling it. Celia, the Intuos Pro Medium is on sale like almost 24/7. And if you're a student, you get a $50 to $100. Oh, wow. Hey, look, that's a good tablet. If you can get it, it's good. If you're a student, though, I would only ask you to think about one thing. The Pro Pen 2, if you lose it or it breaks or you damage it, it costs $80 to replace. So that's one reason why you have to be careful about the Intuos Pro series because the pens are expensive, okay? Arch, there's almost nothing wrong with technology becoming cheaper and more available. We don't want an NVIDIA situation with Wacom, and arguably we're there already due to their large market share. And that's an interesting point, actually. And I think what you mean by NVIDIA situation is just there's no overall dominance, and so they're not innovating. Hey, look, I honestly wish Wacom would innovate more. I'll be the first to tell you that I feel like they're not pushing the boundaries they should. I like the new Cintiq Pros. Look, let's not comment on the cost for a second. I like them. They're great. But, I think there's so much more room for innovation, right? Speaking of innovation, by the way, next week I'm thinking of doing a dual live stream, one for United States and one for the rest of the world at a later time, where we would talk about what are our ideas about what should be, what would we like to see in tablets, right? So if you're interested in a live stream like that, again, I'll do it twice, one for US time, like in the evening, and then one for, later my time, like 11 p.m. my time, which is in the morning for other people. If you're interested, just let me know. I'm totally happy to do it. Jordan, wanted to share, I had a chance to meet with Wacom Tech leadership a few months ago at work when they flew up to Japan. Got to share your website. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope I love that you did that. Thank you. I hope that in some way, something I did had an impact on them. As much as I criticize Wacom, and I certainly do, I want them to succeed too. I do, right? They're the leaders in the industry, and I just want to challenge them more to produce products that work better for us, right? And that work better for more people. Okay, Arch, Ergotron LX user here with Canvas 16. I wish the pivot was weaker. Yeah, I get that. I could see that. But otherwise good. I wish monitor arms had a lever or something to lock. Yes! Yeah, that is a fantastic point. I haven't thought about that. If we could lock the joints and say don't move, that would be fantastic. I know, like, if you've ever used, like, you can't see this here, but I'll try to show it to you. Let me do this. When I'm doing overhead shots, I have this camera, and, you can tighten the joints, but there's other kinds of joints where there's like one button and you turn it, and like everything just freezes, right? You just can't move it. I would love something like that. Monty, yes, Deco Pro Gen 2 was released last year. Absolutely true. I had to be a little flexible for 2024 because, it's not like any brand releases new tablets every year, right? So I decided to kind of blur the lines between 2023 and 2024. So that's why I chose Deco Pro Gen 2, because I still think it's close enough to 2024 and it still makes sense. Arch, if you're worried about wobble with an arm, for what it's worth, I'm sensitive to stuff like that. And free floating with the LX arm fully extended doesn't bother me terribly. Just adjust it tight. Okay, interesting. Maybe when I was using the LX, I didn't adjust it tight enough because I felt like it did wobble, especially like, how can I say it? Like it wobbled like this. It kind of rotated a bit, but I'll try maybe adjusting it a bit better. Fly. Are screen textures difficult to notice on all pen displays, or do some have stronger texture that makes the screen less sleek? Okay. My honest take on this is pretty simple. Let's take the Apple iPad without the nano texture. If you're drawing on it, the pen is just like sliding all over the place. It's actually hard to make a straight line because the slightest change in your hand will move the pen up and down and left and right. Every pen display that I've ever used where there's either anti-glare film or etched glass, I would say they're all relatively close. Some have a bit more, some have a bit less texture, but it's not like I've ever encountered, one where I felt, oh wow, this is like amazingly different from another screen. So I think that the differences are relatively minor. They're there. So for example, I think the Canvas Pro 22 has a decent amount of texture. I would say, I don't know, just to pick a random tablet. So the Huion, sorry, I messed up my words. The Wacom Cintiq Pro 22 has a decent amount of texture, very good. The Canvas 13 Gen 3 is good, but not quite as much. But I think these differences are subtle. Now, and I don't think some people would be able to even detect them. The key thing is they're not slippery like, the iPad when they don't have nano texture. Celia, who is on board of not liking any button on the tablet? Just put the touch button on off on the side and call it a day. Yeah. I think that's a valid point. Celia, true. The Pen 2 is a very high price tag pen. Yeah, look, $80 is crazy, right? The Pro Pen 3 costs $130, and it doesn't even have an eraser, right? So, which is just outlandish. Pretty soon, Wacom is going to have a pen that costs more than the Canvas 13 Gen 3, and that's crazy, right? By the way, I actually have no problems. Seriously, I have no problems paying $250 for a pen, as long as that pen will last 50 years, right? Or 25. Like, I don't have any problem whatsoever. But pens break too easily. I've seen so many people drop Wacom Huion XP Pen pens like this, and sometimes nothing happens, but sometimes a drop like this onto a desk or the floor will break the pen. Now, maybe that happens with Apple pencils too. I don't know. I haven't seen that happen, but if they're more reliable, yeah, sure, I'd buy a pen and use it forever. I have no problem with that. But it's wild that, they sell pens to consumers that are so expensive. Okay, Celia, I think let's do it means this is the comment about let's think about what's going on for yeah, let's do it. Okay. I'll set some time up next week. I'll schedule a live stream. LX has to be quite tight, almost uncomfortable. Oh, okay. So you really have to adjust it. Okay. Thank you. I'll try it. Did you already see my question about Canvas 24 Pro 4K? If you didn't, I'll scroll back in the stream. Daniel, I missed the comment. Could you do me a favor and just post it again, and I'll pay attention. I'm watching the chat. And I'll star your comment for me so I know to go look for it. Okay. Beware of adjusting too tight. My pole now has permanent screw. Okay. I will be aware of that. Before we end the stream, can we at least from now on pick the best based on the best, no compromise, price not issue, just the best? Okay. Okay, if you want me to do that, I'll go ahead and do it right now. Under that, system, the best pen tablet would be the Wacom Intuos Pro series. Okay? It is the best. It is absolutely the best. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's got the best performance. It's got the lowest latency. It's the most reliable. It's got the best as an overall package. Yes, Wacom Intuos Pro is the best. So maybe, my thinking about in saying Deco Pro 2 was, I just put in other factors for it. But yeah, I will totally agree with you. I have no problem saying it. And I've said it many times on my streams as well as when I write things down. Wacom Intuos Pro, the current model, PTH, X60 series, they are the best pen tablets. By the way, and I'm sure I'll get in trouble for this, but we believe, some of us have found some information, and we believe next year Wacom will release new Intuos Pro tablets, pen tablets. Okay? There's some Reddit threads about this you can read. Wacom has not said anything, of course, but there's some evidence we've collected that people have sent us, which shows this they are planning on doing it. And there's a couple of threads on Reddit speculating what the nature of these Intuos Pro tablets might be. I'm super excited for it. I don't know how they're going to get better than what they have today, but I'm super curious on like what's going to happen. It's fascinating that you have the numbers memorized by heart. Hey, when you deal with as many tablets as I do and you talk to tablets like every day, it's second nature. It requires no effort whatsoever. These days, I can't even remember the names of the tablets. I just remember the model numbers, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay, Daniel, I see your comment. For the Canvas 24 Pro 4K, do you have any recommendations to modify it? From the little experience I have with it so far, it seems to have notable sparkle out of the box. But it does have noticeable sparkle. There's no doubt about it. I have the 24 Pro 4K. The sparkle is absolutely noticeable. It was in that era of tablets where Huion was struggling with it. I'm hoping Huion releases a 22 or 24 Canvas Pro, Gen 3 or whatever, that does not have that sparkle. And I think they will do it. I mean, I don't know, but I think they have to. I think it's that important for them. If they can solve that sparkle, it's a great tablet at that size, and it's fantastic. But Wacom leaves a lot to be desired in terms of packaging and accessories. There's no pen case, stand, gloves, etc. Yeah, you compare Wacom to, let's say, Sense Labs, and Sense Labs seems obsessed with giving you everything you could possibly want in the box: the glove, the power connectors for every region of the world, every conceivable cable. It's fun, and Sense Labs, by the way, started this thing where you get 2 pens on the Pro models. That's fantastic. I love that they did that. Huion started doing that with their Pro pen displays. XP Pen started doing that with their Pro pen displays. Wacom hasn't responded at all. It's still the just one pen. I think every Pro tablet, pen display, pen tablet, should always come with 2 pens. Always. And I say that because I think if you're a professional, a real professional, meaning you are working in a studio and your job is to use a drawing tablet, and one of your pens doesn't work, as a professional, you should, as a courtesy, always have another pen available from the manufacturer when you bought it, so you can continue your work. And I think that should be considered mandatory for anything with the word Pro on it. Okay. Monty, do you have any expectations for the rumored Intuos Pro? This is tough. Okay, here's a couple of things I think will happen. It'll use the new Pro Pen 3. I think more than that, like the new Wacom and Move Ink, it'll be compatible also with some more consumer pens. I don't think the drawing will be great with those pens, but it'll be compatible with like the CP913 and CP923. But beyond that, honestly, I'm struggling to see what they're going to change. Touch, I guess, could be improved. Problem is, Intuos Pro is just so good as it is. It's tough to imagine what might get better. There are some things that are sort of easy wins. Like, for example, the current Intuos Pro series, they're inconsistent in their aspect ratio. They're close to like 16 by 10, but they really could be 16 by 9. That would be the best thing for them to be. So maybe they'll make that change, which is not a big innovation. Sense Labs have been doing that for quite a while, but I'd like to see that. So those are the things that come to my mind, right? But again, like I said, I'll have another stream where we start like maybe fantasizing about some of the really wild things we'd love to see, right? I'd love to see like an LCD display, like a strip on pen displays that gives you more information about the tablet, like that literally live tells you the pressure number, right? Not because it's useful, because it's cool. Okay. Celia, this conversation is based on passion of tech. Don't take my enthusiasm as attacking you or anything. It's with the love of tech. Celia, I didn't feel attacked at all. Trust me, did not feel attacked at all. And what you said is totally valid, okay? And if I could go back in time, I'd probably do what you suggested and say the Intuos Pro. And like, I wanted to do this live stream because it is a discussion, and there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just, there is no Academy of Tablet Science, right? It's just me sitting here thinking about tablets, and I make mistakes all the time. So I didn't feel attacked. Please don't feel like that. I am super happy you shared your very passionate opinion. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm very excited for new models. I'll be sure to order one on the spot and make it. Yes, please do. Everyone, if you get any new tablet, please write down, share on YouTube, or share on wherever your opinion. Because the more we as a community can come together and just clearly tell what we liked about it, the better. I want everyone who buys a tablet to be always satisfied with their purchase and have a great experience. Daniel, to quickly follow up for the 24 Pro 4K, in light of the Sparkle, any modification you recommend, or do you feel it's best as is out of the box? It was fine out of the box. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, if I could get rid of the Sparkle, I would, but I didn't have to calibrate it. It worked. Okay, there is maybe one thing. Actually, let me get some water. I'm starting to get parched here. If there is one thing that I think, if you're using a Huion tablet that is PenTech 3.0, so that means it works with PW517 pen, I think one relatively cheap improvement you can make, which should have, make your strokes feel better. Actually, I guess there's two things, but they're very related. Number one, get the PW550 pen, which is backwards compatible with the PW517. And that the PW550 has a much wider pressure range in general. I can't guarantee every unit has such a wide pressure range, but I think 4 out of 5 did. And the fifth one wasn't bad. So use that pen. That will be an improvement. And then I should have mentioned this earlier. When you're talking about successfully, like having successful, good quality strokes, remember this. I tested 53 pens. Every pen I have ever tested is too sensitive at low pressure. Okay? Way too sensitive. And that means if you're drawing with very thin, very light pressure, the pressure readings being sent to your application at light pressure swing wildly. When you're like at 80% pressure, like you're pressing down hard, they don't vary much. But at light pressure, they're just like jumping up and down. So I would recommend everyone to go set their pressure curve and just experiment. It's hard to sort of like figure out what you like. A normal pressure curve, I'm doing this and what you see on the screen will look like this, okay? It goes up and to the right. And what you should do is make a curve like this and then go up, okay? Just experiment with that. And that kind of curve means when you're drawing with light pressure, you won't get that pressure bouncing all around. Just do that. Your life will be so much more improved. Even if your pen doesn't have wide pressure range, your life will be improved, okay? Number one tip I would give you. You are the head of the academy. Thanks, Cecilia. I really appreciate you. You're so active in chat and your comments. I appreciate it. And I love the feedback you shared. Thank you so much. What is the best way to preserve a pen display? I always unplug mine from the socket when I'm not using it, and I leave the felt protection it came in the box on top of it. I think that, look, if you want to preserve it, I think that's fine. I don't think unplugging it makes any difference, honestly. But I will tell you this. I think it makes sense to cover it because, at least one time, I think I have had a pen display and, I think I moved, like I was just moving some other object around it, and that other object had a sharp edge and it caused a scratch in the screen. Fortunately, the scratch was at the edge and no one, you can't see it when you draw because it's, in the bezel. So covering your tablet is a good idea. If you really, if you want to protect the investment, I think that's a fine idea. Some people told me they have like a cover on top of their tablet, like that fits on top of it. I'm not sure exactly which one they're referring to, but especially when you're spending money, it's a great idea to protect the investment. Okay, I wonder if there's a very sensitive pressure at the low range, some physical pressure limitation of pressure sensors, or they just do much filtering. I wonder the same thing. I don't know. I think I'm not an electronics person, right? I'm just some random guy who used to work at Microsoft on software, not hardware. But what I believe is this, if I had to guess, the physical nature of that piezoelectric, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, piezoelectric sensor in the pen, that's the thing that measures physical pressure in modern EMR pens. I think that, less than 1 gram force, it's just very noisy and it's hard. So, that's one aspect. And then, they could probably offer pressure smoothing. In fact, I would like tablet drivers to add a separate setting, not pressure curve. I want a separate setting called pressure smoothing. And applications should do it too. So that you're not smoothing position, you're smoothing pressure. That will fix a lot of problems as well. Okay, Millie, you have a question. Let's take a quick look at it. Yeah, I'm actually. What do you think about reviewing vintage tablets? I actually am planning on doing that in 2025. There's a couple of tablets that are really old that I'd like to talk about. I'll just name some of them for you. One of them is the Intuos 4 XL. And for those of you who don't know, the XL tablet is something like, this big. It's a pen tablet, okay? It's about, I think its screen area is like 22 inches or something. Not screen area, but it's active. It's large. It's large, extra large. So I want to talk about that one. I also want to go back in time and review, for example, the Intuos 2, which I think that was a tablet released in like either 1997 or 1998. And just, by the way, I used an Intuos 2 about a year or so ago for a little bit, but I'd like to commit to using it for a month or so and just see how crazy it is. And I wouldn't be able to use the Wacom driver. I'd have to use Open Tablet Driver for this. Right. By the way, I'm glad you brought this up because it made me say Open Tablet Driver. Wacom drops support for older tablets, right? And Open Tablet Driver will work with many, not all, but many older tablets, like 200 tablets. And just in the past week, Open Tablet Driver version 6.5 does add support for pressure and tilt. It's always had it for Windows, but now it supports pressure and tilt for Mac OS. So those of you who have like an Intuos 4 and Intuos 3 on Mac OS and have not been upgrading, yeah, it takes a little bit of effort and technical skill, but now you can use Open Tablet Driver for these older Wacom tablets on Mac OS. So just want to make sure people saw that announcement. Okay, let's see. Arch. They just had to program a digressive curve into via software. I don't think sensitivity is inherent. Okay, interesting. Yeah, if they want to bake a curve in the software, that helps. I'd like to see how that worked. You should make a video on the Wacom SD series of tablets. Definitely no one thinks they exist. So that may be something I'd try as well. Smoothing will inherently introduce delay as it is post-processed, so you don't want very much at all at high update speeds. It is. I will say this: I wrote a test application called WinTab Painter, which implements pressure smoothing separate from position smoothing. Pressure smoothing is less obvious when you're drawing than position smoothing. So you can get away with more of it than you would suspect you could. Like a significant amount of pressure smoothing can happen. So I think it could work well. Also, I think applications, I don't know if you've used Procreate, Arch, but Procreate has a lot of this post-processing. And it does maybe prediction as well for position. And so it's super responsive. And, you'll draw a line and you'll see it do the post-correction. And so maybe applications like Krita and Clip Sheet of Paint should start taking on more post-correction features, because that's another way where we might be able to just get more beautiful strokes. Okay. And with that, I think I went through every possible question. We got 159 comments. So that wraps it up, I think, for this live stream for the Drawing Tablet Awards, sponsored by the, what do they call it? The Academy of Tablet Sciences or something. Everyone, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for your enthusiasm. Remember, I'm doing this just to make sure that we all have a fun time with our tablets, and people can be creative. And let's just go into 2025 with good spirits, and have a collaborative attitude, and just let's help each other have a great experience. And Happy New Year to everyone. And I wish you and your families all the best. Okay. And with that, the Academy of Tablet Sciences is signing off, and everyone have a great night or day or whatever. And I'll talk to you soon. I will have, again, a live stream on the future of tablets, and where we're going to just throw out crazy ideas about what tablets should be and the features they should have and how they should get better. Tablets, pens, drivers, whatever. It'll be a fun time. Okay? Everyone, good night. Good night. Thanks again. And Happy New Year.